What is up, guys? Jake from One Hive back with our final installment of the base design series. And as always, the man with the crayon in his hand. Rex, what's going on, buddy?
Thanks for that's a nice intro. Thanks for the introduction,
you like that, man?
Not much going on you. Yeah. It's awesome to be able to finish this series off, and we've been getting a lot of questions and a lot of good exposure from those other videos. So hopefully people like this one as well.
Yeah, man. I've been surprised. As long as these videos have tended to be, and as boring as a lot of people find base design, it's some of the most viewed and most commented on videos. And I think that's a lot thanks to you for bringing your knowledge of this stuff into it. So I want to thank you before we get started on this last one for just taking the time to do all these. It's been a lot of work and it's been a lot of time. I've even got asked a few times about part twos, and I told them, whoa, hang on, we're not even done with part one, and this takes a lot of time, so we'll see about that down the road.
Yeah. Well, anytime, Jake. I'd love to help everyone out. It's one of the most satisfying feelings in this game. I do have a disclaimer for Town Hall 10s. I do not have all the information. Unfortunately, I'm still learning Town Hall 10s, so not all of my information may be 100% accurate, but I will disclose everything that I know.
Well, yeah, and me, obviously, as a Town Hall 9, I'm relying on you for this. And so, again, guys, the whole game's a learning thing. So as we get further into Town Hall 10 and have more people go into Town Hall 10, we'll learn new stuff. But we're going to give you just sort of what we experience at One Hive and what we've ran into, what works, what didn't work against us, more so than the defenses that we've had, because we attack a lot more Town Hall 10s than we see defenses because we have so few. But we're going to do our best. We'll get started on just what, like we always do, on Rex's beautiful list over here. The number one is just defenses, and what we're talking about is what we get that's new. We're not going to backtrack all the way to the start. We're going to talk about the new stuff. The big one that we'll be talking about a lot in this video is obviously the Inferno Tower. So tell us a little bit about those, Rex.
Yeah, so the Inferno Towers have 3 levels, 1, 2, and 3, and their primary function is to prevent the heal spell, and that's what changes the game, because the heal spell is such a powerful utility in the game. And obviously, the Inferno Tower has a single and a multi-targeted mode. I'm glad you actually went into that, because a lot of people make this mistake. They don't know whether an Inferno is in single mode or it's in multi-mode. So the easiest way to check it out is to either, you can scout it out and see it, or if you're just looking at a base, the Inferno Tower in multi-mode looks like a disco ball on top. In single mode, it looks like the Eye of Sauron if you watch Lord of the Rings. It's just one big circle. However, on multi, you'll obviously see it's split up into 3. So single and multi have different uses and different advantages and disadvantages, and we're going to break them down even further.
Yep.
Level 1 single multi, I don't. Can you actually open it up again?
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact DPS. But the nice thing about the multi is it targets 5 different units. So I believe the first level does something around like 30 DPS. I'm not completely sure.
Okay.
But because it's only level 1, it's not as effective as level 2 and level 3. It is possible to still loon and hog the multi-Inferno level 1 as a Town Hall 9. It's very difficult because you have such a small amount of time and you have to heal right after it. But if yours a base with 2 multis overlapping, then don't even try to hog it as a Town Hall 9.
Go ahead. I would agree that it's so almost like we talked about in Town Hall 9. When you're new Town Hall 10 and you just got those level 1 Infernos, yeah, they're powerful and yeah, they're scary, but really they're not the game changers that the level 3 are.
Yeah, so level 2 and level 3 have a huge jump. Level 2, I believe, gets 8 DPS per second, and when that's targeting 5 different troops, that's 40 extra DPS that you're getting. And then once you get to level 3, that's an additional 4 or 5 DPS, if I recall correctly. However, because the amount of damage that it's shelling out is just really quick. So you have to, the amount of time you have to freeze these is very, the window is very small.
Yeah.
But let's break it down even further. So Jake, what would you say is the advantages of having a single targeting Inferno? Like, what troops is it good for, and what troops is it not good against?
Well, the advantage of a single target Inferno is going to be when it locks onto something with high HP, a dragon, a golem, a hero, because it puts out that massive damage and it can take that down. The problem is it's susceptible at that point to swarm attacks, so it's got its trade-offs there.
Yeah, you're totally right. So you see a lot of people even considering singles. I personally almost never put my Infernos on singles. The only time that I do is when I scout out the enemy spaces and see that he has a high-level Barbarian King, because the only time that I'll ever want to use it is if the Barbarian King is targeted. And usually at Town Hall 10, I mean, Town Hall 10 is a game changer. It's a very different ball game. It feels different. The attacks are different. And even the mentality is different. People at this point in the game go for 2 stars as opposed to 3 because 3 stars are not impossible, but they're very difficult. It takes a very skilled raider to be able to scout, break down a base, and dissect it, and be able to 3-star it. But when Inferno is on single targeted mode, you have to pray that it targets the golem, a P.E.K.K.A., or a hero first, or a dragon. Because if it doesn't, it's susceptible to just being overwhelmed, like you were saying, by different swarms. Witches are super effective against them.
Yeah, definitely. Even like, we'll talk about it more, but even someone that's really good with like Balloonian, if you've got it set to single, any a Go Wee Wee, a Balloonian attack, anything that swarms like that, takes the time it takes to target kill can be exploited. It seems like to me when someone has them set to single, it just opens up more options. It's just you've got more ways to attack that base than it does versus a multi. That's just my opinion. I'm a Town Hall 9, not a Town Hall 10, but even when I scout sometimes in one hive, we go up against a clan with a lot more Town Hall 10s. Some of us have to scout those lower Town Hall 10s to look at an attack. And multi, I almost just skip over unless they're level 1. Single, it seems like, oh, I might be able to get in here and get this 2-star.
Yeah, you're totally right. We have many raiders that can 2-star or even 3-star when a Town Hall 10 decides to put both Infernos on single, because it's very easy for even a Town Hall 9 to just swarm it. Back to what we were talking about for multi-targeting Infernos, it's very troublesome for Town Hall 9s and Town Hall 10s because the amount of targets. As I was mentioning, it can target up to 5 different troops, and these 5 troops cannot heal.
Yeah.
So the reason why it's so effective against hogs is hogs, regardless of how you deploy hogs and how you path it, how you funnel it, it's going to take some time for it to destroy the defenses because the Infernos are almost always in the court. So it's going to take some time for it. They're going to waste a couple of seconds here and there attacking the defenses prior to it and then moving on.
Yep.
And within that small amount of time, the Infernos can just melt your hogs without the availability of a heal spell.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point about placement of your Infernos. Honestly, it's hard to screw it up, in my opinion. The only thing I would say is a don't do for placing your Infernos is don't put them to where the enemy can send in a defensive building targeting troop, balloons, giants, hogs, and that be the first one they target. I would say besides that, it's kind of hard to screw them up. I've seen it be effective where they're not in the core, but they're sort of on, let's say that you had them placed, one where this one is here, and one over here. I've seen them be effective even that far apart because they still have a good range, to sort of not overlap, but cover most of this if someone was coming in from the bottom or the top even. So that's my opinion on placement of them. It's hard to screw it up. Just don't make it to where someone can send in a swarm of hogs or a swarm of balloons and it be the first one they go to.
Yeah, you're right. As you were mentioning here, even if they're separate, I personally like my Inferno towers protecting each other so that they're in range. However, they can't be too close together either, because a single freeze spell, if they're too close to each other, a single freeze spell can freeze them both, negating everything the Inferno tower has to offer. So, quick little lesson on how to place it, how too close it is. Just think about the 4x4 space of your town hall. Okay. If one Inferno is here at this Tesla, you cannot place another Inferno across. A free spell can reach across the 4x4 space.
Right.
There has to be one extra space in between here. So here, it has to be like this.
Gotcha.
So this is still in range for the Infernos to protect each other. However, a single free spell cannot freeze both.
So what you're saying is both Inferno towers should not be touching your town hall. If they are, a well-placed freeze can get both of them.
Yes. The only exception is they can be touching each other on the two different edges. So one Inferno could be over here and one Inferno could be over here.
On the very tips.
This is just enough spacing. Yeah, so if they're on the corners, then this is just enough spacing that the one freeze cannot get them both.
That's an excellent tip, and we've seen that happen. The people put it too close, and someone that has especially max level freeze that can drop 2 freezes on there, that's 16 seconds that both Infernos are down. That's huge.
Yeah, you're totally right. I have made this mistake in the past where it's when I first got to Town Hall 10, I didn't know what the range of freeze was. So I would put one Inferno here, one Inferno here, or here. And when I got attacked, someone who's been in Town Hall 10 for a little while, who's more experienced, would drop a freeze, get them both, and just demolish my base.
Yeah. I think it's an excellent tip, and I think you see that a lot. People tend to think those Infernos have to be in the core, and they don't necessarily. It's like we said, they just need to be protected, and even like you were mentioning, you like them to protect each other. That's fine, but don't get them too close. Don't let someone exploit that with a freeze. Let's don't spend too much more time on Infernos, but anything else you want to talk about, because we sort of covered 2 points in one on that.
Yeah, so I kind of digressed and went into the 4th point, but let's talk about the other defenses.
Yeah.
As a Town Hall 10, you do get an extra archer tower. You do get an extra cannon. I don't know where my extra cannon is. All right. You do get... Oh, sorry, it was up top. You do get an extra expo.
Yep.
So these are the 3 primary defenses that are new to Town Hall 10, and they actually make a significant contribution to the amount of defenses that you'll get. Just because the expo has so much health, and then tacking on 2 extra defenses it's a lot more than the amount of troop space that you get. So as a Town Hall 10, you get an extra 5 troop space per army camp, so that's an extra 20 troop space, plus the 5 from your clan castle.
Yep.
So the 25 armies camp spaces, you don't necessarily balance it out with the 2 Infernos, the Expo, and the 2 extra point defenses that you receive.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. And that's why it turns into a 2-star game. The offense that you get does not balance it out. Yes, you have some very, very high level gameplay where some people are developing some techniques to get the 3-star on Town Hall 10s, but essentially right now in the state of the game across the board, it's a 2-star game, at least for developed Town Hall 10s. Now, yes, rushed or early Town Hall 10s can absolutely be 3-star. We've shown numerous videos of even Town Hall 9s stepping up in 3-star on some low or early Town Hall 10s. But the point defense that you get, those 2-point defenses in the Expo, that's huge. It's like we talked about in the last Town Hall 9 video. Those are your best defensive for war buildings. So throwing 2 more of those in and throwing that huge HP Expo in, it's a big deal. And going up to level 3 in Expo, that's a big deal.
Yeah, so as you were mentioning, the level 4 Expo, you only get an extra 5 DPS, and it does not seem that significant. However, 3 Expos that have that extra 5 DPS, it just adds on really quickly. These Expos at 80 DPS melt troops so quickly. I was actually shocked about how quickly these Expos are at shelling out damage.
Yeah, and especially if you've got some overlap between two of them. I mean, yeah, when you've got two expos locked onto something at level 4, that's serious. The other thing is the jump up in power on the level 8 air defense. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it's just so powerful. If you have them placed correctly, you've got such a huge defense against air attacks with that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. The air defense level 8 is just such a ridiculous amount of damage per missile. Even level 4 max dragons have a difficult time overcoming unless you are a very good draglooner. At this point, the only reason draglooning is even possible is because of the free spell.
Yep.
The free spell is usually used on the air defenses as opposed to any other defense, unless it is a single targeting Inferno.
Yep.
So air defenses are important, like always. You have to place it correctly. You've got to have a very good distribution. And of course, you don't want any defenses not covered by the air. But again, you can't place them too close together, and you cannot place them too far together. The problem with placing them too far together is because of the new troop, the Lava Hound. You'll see if you are a YouTuber and you've seen these crazy people use max troops, max Lava Hounds to attack these max bases with level 40 heroes, a filled clan castle. You'll notice on each of these bases, the 4 air defenses are spread out. And what I mean by that is, like, if there's an air defense here, an air defense here, an air defense here, and an air defense here, this base can be easily dominated with Lava Lunian. Because the air defenses just don't, they don't shell out enough. The only defense against it is the multi-tower Infernos, and that can be freezed.
Yeah, and I think that one of the main reasons is that you want it a little more compact than you do at Town Hall 9 is because, again, it's a 2-star game. We're not talking about the 3-star in most scenarios. We're talking about these guys are going for your Town Hall in 50%. And if you have them spread completely out, you might take 2 of them completely out of the ballgame. They never fire a shot, and they still get the 50% in the Town Hall. So remember that there's a slight difference. The game changes at Town Hall 10, and you've got to remember that when you're building your bases.
Yeah, so that's a great point, Jake. While you're on that point, let's talk about the number of buildings that there are for Town Hall 10. I don't know the exact amount, but it depends on the number of builder huts a person has and if they've built every defense possible.
Yeah.
To get a 2-star, that's my star.
That's a bad star.
To get a 2-star, on a Town Hall 10, obviously you have to get 1, the Town Hall. The second star comes from at least getting between, and it varies again, 29 to 30 1-ish buildings. Each building is around 1.125% or something like that. I don't know the exact percentage. I think some math people can help us out and actually do the calculations. But this is important because now you want to make sure you don't have too much trash buildings on the outside of your base that are unprotected. Yep. Because what they can do is they can just bum rush the Town Hall with their max troops, take it out, and then use archers, like you were saying, or minions, snipe out just enough percentage to get the 50%.
Yep. Yeah, we see it all the time, and people do it. They build their armies for it. They have their mass wave, whatever it is, a go wipe, a go wee wee. It's all about getting the Town Hall, and then they'll have 5 archers in the bag or a couple minions in the bag because they know I've shot my wad trying to get to that Town Hall. I'm going to need a few more percentages, so they keep that. So like you said, don't give them as little free as possible because literally it might be them dropping an archer over here trying to take this out, And if you don't have one of these cannons here, it's free percentage points for them. So it can be that can be the difference in 1 and 2 stars. So try to give away as little as possible for free.
Yeah, you're right here, and that's why you have to make sure you're set up with a good balance in air defenses, using either the air defenses or the archer towers to be able to reach every single non-defensive building. One of the other good tips is to make sure your builder huts are not all in the same area. So in this base, you got one there, 2 there, because very often what will happen is sometimes they'll bring a lightning spell and they won't be able, they won't need it. They can either lightning a builder hut or a hero altar and get that extra point.
Yep.
If you have 4 builders hut clumped up together, they're going to lightning that, or just use a few archers and destroy all 4 of those building huts.
Yep, I think that's a good point. Spread them out, and for the love of God, just like last time, don't put them over here in the corner. I mean, don't give someone something that easy. It lets them draw clan castle troops there. It gives them free percentage points. And again, when you're at Town Hall 10, the game changes, and we're talking percentage points matter now. So don't do that.
Yeah, and one of the other things, one of the biggest mistakes that I see in Town Hall 10 is to have this entire deployment troop area covered just for the sake of part of deployment.
Mm-hmm.
That is a huge mistake because it's really like once you by Town Hall 10, you know how to deploy, you know how to overcome a layout like this, and then you're giving away free stars.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that sort of segues into a good point before we move on from traps, or from defenses to traps, is really, this is sort of like we talked about at Town Hall 9 and even Town Hall 8. Those bases could be 3-star. You cannot build one that someone out there can't 3-star at Town Hall 8 or Town Hall 9. It's not possible. At Town Hall 10, you really can't build one that someone out there can't 2-star. What you can do, though, is make it as tricky and as hard on them as possible. And I feel like that's a good way to segue into the next topic, which is traps.
Yeah, so traps are one of the most effective things in part of the game, just as it was in Town Hall 8 and Town Hall 9. But the nice thing about Town Hall 10 is you get an extra Seeking Mine, and you get an extra Giant Bomb. And also with the newest update, you get an extra Skeleton Trap. So these 3 traps alone are so big. The other important part is the Seeking Air Mine becomes, you get an extra level of the Seeking Air Mine, and you get an extra level of the Giant Bomb.
Yep.
So talking about the Seeking Air Mine first, even though the opposing, so the attacker or the new Town Hall 10 will get Dragons level 4, this Seeking Air Mine, when it's maxed, does so much damage. It could pretty much kill a level 2 dragon in one. It could hurt, I think it does about 95% damage to a level 3 dragon. It doesn't kill off a level 4 dragon, obviously, but it does a significant amount of damage.
Yeah.
You have 5 of these, and once all 5 of these are upgraded, that's almost 5 dragons that are gone.
Yeah, it honestly, the bump you get in air defense, in my opinion, from Town Hall 9 to Town Hall 10 is huge. You get the Inferno towers, you get the extra X-bow that can be set to the air, you get the bump in air defense level, you get the extra air mine. I mean, I don't think the jump from level 3 to level 4 dragons is as big as the jump that you get from defense-wise from Town Hall 9 to Town Hall 10.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. You do still see a lot of people draglooning successfully for 2 stars. And that's just because, one, your air defenses are improperly used, so, or 2, they're very good draglooner. They know and can anticipate where your air bombs are at.
Yeah.
And if your air bombs are poorly positioned, then they can dragloon you for 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, 2 stars are going to happen on any base. Someone's going to be able to figure it out and do it, and Dragloon is a viable way to get that. There's people out there that are very good at it. The other thing that people, that we see less and less of, we have seen it some, but less and less of at Town Hall 10, is hogs, and I think that's due to the extra giant bomb and the fact that you get an extra level on there after the nerf or the buff of the bombs. It's just devastating to hogs.
Yeah, you're right, Jake. The level 4 giant bomb is such a huge obstacle for hogs. If your group of hogs ends up triggering a level 4 giant bomb. It does almost 75 to 80% damage to those hogs with the new buff on the giant bombs against the hogs. And so they have to immediately heal. They might even have to pre-heal.
Yeah.
And if there's any wizard towers next to it, they need to make sure those hogs are healed throughout, because that giant bomb just really hurts. And if there's a level 4 giant bomb next to an Inferno tower and the freeze and the heal is not perfectly timed, then those hogs are big.
Yeah, I was just about to say, the way you've got 2 of those bombs set up right there by your Inferno towers, I would not want to be the person that tried to hog this. It's just, it's like you said, yeah, maybe with perfect spell timing and all that, you could get through that, but you're talking about 4 spells to get through those 2 obstacles with your hogs. You've only got 1 left for the rest of the base. So I would love to see the person that could hog this this base, and I want to be around them and be in their clan.
Yeah, me too. So the nice thing about Town Hall 10 is now you don't have a need for double giant bomb sets. It's not a necessity anymore.
Yep.
Because you have the Infernos. But if you do have single targeting Infernos, then I think you need to have a double giant bomb set just so it can't be hogged. However, the other option is if you have 2 Infernos that are close together, then you need to make sure there is a double giant bomb set, because the freeze can get both.
Yeah, I would agree, except for that, we don't see, I mean, sometimes some Town Hall 10s will incorporate hogs into an attack, but it's not a hog attack, quote. They're trying to take out a section or, a few straggling defenses. Really, like you said, I don't think there's a need if your base is properly set up for double giant bombs. It's just, you get more out of it because the primary attacks you're going to see, go wipe, go wee-wee, having them spread is a lot more effective. Having witches, wizards stumble into them and wipe them out, that's going to get you a better defense than doubling them up, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. So the thing that one of the mistakes that I do see in Clan Wars is when there are defenses that are all together, there are no spaces in between. Actually, here, look, this entire section. If your base is entirely like this and there's no spaces in between, I'm still going to try to hog your base.
Yeah.
Because I know that the giant bombs are not there. I know the giant bombs are outside or wherever, and I know the spring traps are not there. So hogs are still viable as a Town Hall 10. You see hogs 3-starring bases all the time. Well, not all the time, but you still see it in YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And that's when the general principle is because all the defenses are close together. There are no spring traps in between. There's no giant bombs in between. All the giant bombs can be triggered with Barbarian outside of the base.
Yeah.
So that's a mistake.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You still have to have the threat. But, even looking at your base here, you pretty much know there's no double sets there. Yes, you've got one in the core, I think, right here that could be a set. But honestly, I wouldn't. I think what you said is right. I might try to hog a section of your base. Maybe even something like all of this might be my goal to hog it. But to say I'm going to enter this core with hogs, I think is unlikely and a mistake.
I agree with you there, Jake. The only other thing is you need to make sure your hog funnel is not set up. I don't want to say hog funnel. Your defenses, and we were kind of mentioning this earlier, your defenses are not set up to funnel directly into your Infernos. So if someone were to try to get this Inferno and try to hog it, one of my mistakes that I did here before is to make a direct path into my Inferno. So all they did is take out this building, and so they just sent in loons to go this way. But now I placed an air defense right there, so now there's a split that goes on. The 2 groups will split.
Well, in this Tesla, I mean, if they come in from hogs from here, first of all, they're going to go to that Tesla. Then they're going to go to this wizard tower. Then they're probably going to go to this Tesla when it pops. And then from there, possibly even veer completely off course of that to the air defense. You might get a split here and get some of them there. But that's you're going to be okay people send in hogs from that side, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And that's kind of why I set it up. Try to bait out the hog attack there. But
yeah.
I'm sure people would not do it. Yep. That kind of leads into our army composition point. is you were mentioning the most common army composition that attacks is your go wee wee and your go wipe.
Yeah.
With the level 5 P.E.K.K.A update, I pretty much saw everyone go wiping. But now that the new skeletons have come into play, now I'm seeing people do more hybrid attacks back to go wee wee wipe.
Yeah, and that's sort of a transition topic there from between traps and army comps. We didn't mention the skeleton traps. You do get an extra one at this point, and 3 max skeleton traps. That's 12 skeletons. Yes, that's a nerf to go wipe, in my opinion. I think you're right. I think people are trying or still in a phase of trying to figure out how to deal with it. But I have seen personally mass P.E.K.K.A and go wipe raids that really get hurt, if not ruined, by the time it takes to for them P.E.K.K.A.s to stop. Now, if you have a wizard that happens to be right there behind it and can splash damage them, you might not even notice it. But if it's separate, if the P.E.K.K.A.s are in the core and the wizards are still working their way around cleaning up some stuff, it can devastate that raid. So I think you're right. People are transitioning, or at least trying to figure out a way to deal with that. And one more point on that: in the core again, or at least around the core, like you've got in here, I like, is the place form and set to ground.
Yeah, you make a good point, Jake. The only way to really negate the skeleton traps, the amount of time that it's ruining, it takes to kill them, is to have a wizard or a raged witch behind it, so that they can splash them down quickly. Because anything with a slow attack speed is just taking way too long to kill those individually. At One Hive, we were huge mass P.E.K.K.A users, because it's really easy with a level 5 P.E.K.K.A to get a 2-star on a Town Hall 10.
Mm-hmm.
There's almost no thought process. All you do is you jump into the core, you hit the Town Hall, the P.E.K.K.A will do the rest. But now with the skeleton traps, it's such a huge nerf. I almost don't see that army comp is viable. The only time it is viable is if the Archer Queen is doing a significant amount of damage because she's such high level. But
right.
Other than that, I don't see that as a viable army anymore.
Yeah, level 15, 20 heroes with a mass P.E.K.K.A, yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, if you've got max level heroes, you can still sort of muscle through some bases. It's not very finessey, but it can be done. But yeah, I mean, that's what you're going to see 90% of the time. I would say at least 90% of the time on your Town Hall 10, you're going to get go wiped, go wee wee. That's just what you're going to see. So you need to keep that in mind when you're making your base design. Some of the same things we talked about at Town Hall 9, no huge compartments. You want to have multiple compartments, offset lines to make wall breakers go where you want them to go, not just to go straight to the core, things like that.
Yeah, and that's a good point. If you're going to be building a base to try to fend off from go wee wee and go wipe, you need to make sure you have enough compartments. I still see a lot of Town Hall 10s just making these huge compartments.
Yeah.
There are both benefits and advantages and disadvantages to having huge compartments. One of the advantages is a compartment like this is very big. So there's only one reason that I did this. And that's because the jump spell is so effective with go wide and go wee wee. In Town Hall 10, everyone is starting to use it because wall breakers are just very difficult to deploy in time. I know some of the older generation Town Hall 10s, some of the more experienced Town Hall 10s haven't really been using the jump spell because they're so accommodated to using the wall breaker and timing it perfectly. But the biggest spell that I see Town Hall 10s use is rages, freezes, and a jump spell.
Yep.
And this jump spell, let's say it's dropped over here. If there are walls cutting this off, then an attack from the bottom will go straight into the core.
Mm-hmm.
Because they'll clear out this section, they'll clear out this section, and so the next closest building on the AI is this section. So they'll almost always go and jump into the core.
Yep.
However, if there's a huge section like this that I laid out here, even if they drop a jump spell and it connects all of them, because the closest building is right next to it, they will actually go around. They will not take the jump spell.
Yep, I think that's an excellent point, and I've seen that work. Because, like you said, the jump spell, all it's going to do is let them know that it's almost like that wall's not there. But it doesn't matter if they come in from here and they're attacking this building, and the next closest building is this. It doesn't matter whether this wall's here or not. They're still going to go to the next closest building. All the jump spell does is in the AI negates that wall. So they could still go from closest building to closest building and work their way around this core, possibly preventing the town hall from getting grabbed. Now, if they're standing here and you've got an archer queen, yeah, she's going to shoot over the wall. But there's nothing you can do about that, whether there's sections there or not.
Yeah, that's a good point. The archer queen is still going to be an obstacle to tackle. However, there's one more point that I wanted to make is if you do end up building a builder moat like this, then make sure that it's complete. There's
right.
buildings touching each other. So what happens is if this, let's just say this gold storage is not here, but they threw a jump spell here anyways, and they went this direction. If they deploy from the left, it'll hit this DE storage. Some troops will branch out this way, some troops will branch out this way. But after they destroy this building, they'll go right into the middle because this building's no longer there.
Yep, I think that's a good point. You've got to have them side by side because remember, they're going to the next closest building, and you've got to make that away from your core if that's the goal of your base setup. But again, you still got multiple compartments. A go wee wee, a go wipe still has a lot of work to do, even with a jump spell and walls. As people get their walls leveled up more and more with the elixir being able to use for walls now, you're seeing a lot more high level walls, lava walls, Lego walls. That's a nerf directly to wall breakers. So that's why, in my opinion, you're seeing the jump spell more often.
Yeah, I agree. So the correct way to make sure you deploy wall breakers is for a Lego wall, you need at least 3 level 5 wall breakers.
Mm-hmm.
You only need 2 level 6, but once you get to lavas, you need to have at least 3 wall breakers. You just need to make sure you calculate at least 3 wall breakers or raised wall breakers.
Yep.
One of the most common mistakes that I do see on Town Hall 10 attacks, can you click the Inferno Tower off the left one?
Yeah.
So one of the most common attacks that I do see is wall breakers just get fried by Infernos. Infernos are one of the most difficult things to overcome with wall breakers because you see here how these walls are on the edge of the Inferno Tower range. Any wall breakers that go this way will get fried before they trip off because of this Inferno Tower. So this Inferno Tower either has to be frozen, and then the wall breakers have to be raged to make sure they get here. And a lot of people, even in our clan, aren't able to do that yet because they don't know the exact timing.
Well, and even if they get through this wall, which you've got here, this secondary wall, which is still not to the core, but this secondary wall is a huge obstacle for wall breakers. They could still be continuing to funnel their wall breakers in, and even if the golem's in here soaking up some of that Inferno Tower damage, one of the 5 targets it's got, it might still have a open slot or 2 for those wall breakers trying to get there, and I've seen them just throw them against it and just waste 10, 15 troop space trying to get those wall breakers in there to no avail.
Yeah, you're totally right, Jake. Even so, it's very difficult to get that exact time. The only time you can is to make sure there's a rage down here. The wall breakers have to be enraged to hit that wall. A single wall breaker, that is a single max wall breaker, can actually destroy a lava wall. It can actually even destroy a Zat wall as long as it's in range or it's running out of the range, out of rage, and has the rage effect.
Right.
But this Inferno Tower has to be frozen.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we veered a little off topic here, but all what we're talking about is the army compositions that you're going to see and how to set your base up for it. And just know that, you've got to set it up in a way they're going to be bringing wall breakers trying to get in. So make that as difficult on them as you can. That's part of any go wipe, any go wee strategy.
Okay, let's move on, Jake. We've already talked about the army comps. We did talk, I kind of went out of order. We did talk about the single versus multi-target infernos. My suggestion is either to have a multi and a single. If you think the opponent is going to be using a high-level hero, then one single is fine. Or if you think they're going to be attacking with P.E.K.K.A.s, golems, or dragons, then one single target is fine. Otherwise, just almost always set them both on multi, because Go Wee Wee. The power in Go Wee Wee comes from the witches and the wizards, and a multi Inferno will just melt wizards and witches if they don't time their freezes correctly.
Yeah.
And I see that more effective than singles.
Yeah.
And then the last topic that we don't want to talk about is the Clan Castle. You do get a boost in Clan Castle space. You have 35 troop space, so it's really fun to play around with different little army compositions within your Clan Castle. So I like to play around. I've done so many different variations, and all have their advantages and disadvantages, and they resonate the same as we did talk about in Town Hall 9 and Town Hall 8. Mix that thing up.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a hard war, fill that thing with archers, make it tough. Just make it a pain in the butt for them.
Yeah, I think the same rules basically apply. Nothing's changed there. You do get the 5 extra troop space. And just like we talked about going from Town Hall 8 to Town Hall 9, you can just make it that much harder. Really, with the extra point defenses you get, you can just make a lure on a Town Hall 10 such a pain in the ass that a lot of times people won't even attempt it. They'll say, no, I'm not going to lure. I'll bring a lightning or whatever. And to me, that's a win. If you can make it that much of a pain, then they're gonna dedicate that 5th spell just to your Clan Castle. That's a win. So try to make your base a pain for them to get it out. And again, like Rex said, if you're going to do that, load it up with troops, make it to where they almost have to commit to starting their attack just to get the lure done.
Yeah, I concur, Jake. The nice thing that I've seen with a hard to lure is it creates more fail rates than not. So what I mean by that is from the Town Hall 10 attacks in Clan War that are done against me, I would say 70% of attacks that failed were because they did not lure and they could not handle the Clan Castle properly.
Yeah.
So the harder the lure on the Clan Castle from Town Hall 10, the better, even more so than Town Hall 8 and Town Hall 9, because it's just more troops to deal with, and if they're dealing with those troops in Inferno range, one, they don't have enough time, even with max freeze, to deal with them, or two, they don't freeze correctly, and so the multis destroy their DPS before they even realize it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, to me, the big thing about if you can make it hard enough that they say, screw it, I'm not going to lure, especially on an upgraded Town Hall 10 base, because of the amount of DPS that all your defensive buildings get. You get these extra buildings, you get the extra expo, the Inferno towers, the the extra point defenses, level 8 Teslas, because of all that crazy damage. When that attack has to stop in its tracks and deal with even your piddly archers, witch skeletons, whatever you've got in that Clan Castle, they're standing there. Something is absorbing all that damage. And if you can make them do that in the middle of the fight versus taking it in a controlled fashion to the corner, to me it's huge. And I'm like Rex, I see more failed Town Hall 10 attacks because of that than anything else.
Yeah, I agree with you. Kind of a different point that I forgot to mention prior is the hero position of the Archer Queen.
Yeah.
Try to position it in a way where they cannot freeze the Archer Queen. If you have a high-level Archer Queen, where they cannot freeze the Archer Queen and an Inferno at the same time. And what I mean by that is, so the only time this Archer Queen is exposed to a freeze, and both my Inferno and my Archer Queen will be frozen, is if they attack from the top.
Mm-hmm.
So the Archer Queen will ride up to about here. They can drop the freeze and get both my Archer Queen. But any other direction, then they cannot get my Archer Queen to freeze with an Inferno, because the Archer Queen is, like, once it gets to level 30 plus, it's doing so much DPS that it's better than any of your defensive buildings as long as it's behind a wall. It's putting out more damage. I've seen a level 30 Archer Queen destroy a max level Golem unprotected because the Golem did not have sufficient DPS backing it up. That's a free Golem for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of troop space. And I'm glad you brought the heroes up before we end it, because in Town Hall 10, I don't think it would ever really be advisable to place them in a way that's going to draw the attack into the core. Again, we're talking about a 2-star game now. Drawing them away from the core is what you want to do. You want to do that as much as you can. So for you to place, king and queen right here, I think would be a huge mistake. Would you agree or disagree with that, Rex?
No, I agree with you. I almost never place my heroes in the core anymore because it's, as we mentioned, the most common army type that's going to be attacking you is either the go wee wee or the go wipe. And if you use them as a magnet for them, they're just going to bring those troops to the core free. So it's better that they have to do the work. They have to funnel. They have to be able to handle the clan castle and the heroes and be able to funnel. It's just easier for you to win defenses that way.
Yeah, I think it's different in that respect than Town Hall 8, Town Hall 9. I think it's almost, we talked about the advantages and disadvantages. I think the disadvantages of having them in the core outweigh the advantages at Town Hall 10. But that's just, again, my opinion. I'm not a Town Hall 10, but that's what I see.
And I think you're right. You have to have a really well-balanced placement in the queen, the king, and your defenses. Yeah, I have seen some core heroes, and they've worked well. That's because they know exactly how to place their other defenses to support those heroes.
Yeah. All right. Well, man, anything else before we wrap this up, this little mini-series that we've done here?
No, I just want to encourage all our viewers, if you are Town Hall 10 and you have a lot of experience, please leave us tips in the comment section below or reach out to us. Give us some tips because we don't know them all at Town Hall 10. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Absolutely. Great point. We are by no means the end-all, be-all. These are simply some points that we have seen be effective and detrimental to Town Hall 10s. So all we're trying to do is give you our perspective, what we've learned here at One Hive. Again, we're not a Town Hall 10 clan. We're not we've got between 6 and 8 usually in wars, somewhere in that range now. So there's nothing that we're not too proud to say we can't learn things. You guys can teach us at times. That's what it's all about, is the community helping each other out, learning and getting better. So absolutely, good point, Rex. Drop a comment. Give us some tips and pointers if you've got them. All right. Anything else, Rex, before we wrap this one up?
No, I just thanks for the support as always, and we will see you next time with our next. We're going to be resorting back to our race breakdown videos. So if you have any questions on any future races breakdown, send them our way.
Yeah, sorry for the guys that like the base breakdown videos. We've just been sort of on hiatus from them to do this mini series, but this concludes it. So I hope you guys liked it. It seems like you have. It's got a ton of views, a ton of people responding to it. So thank you guys so much for the support. As always, Jake and Rex from One Hive doing our best to help you guys suck less.